Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings, and we generally like to talk a load of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general. And in this video we're going to be talking about an area control card tableau building game. We're going to be talking about Pax Pamir 2nd edition, and in this game you will be pledging allegiance to one of 3 coalitions. You'll be trying to dominate the map, and you'll be trying to entice courtly personalities into your court that will allow you to win the game. So in this video we're going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules to tell you what we do like, what we don't like. Then we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Pax Pamir 2nd edition is still worth playing about 5 years after its first release. So remember, if you're new to it, then please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. I'll see you after this. Bollocks. So, Pax Pamir 2nd edition. How'd you play this game? So let's get one thing straight, we ain't going to be telling you every single little itty bitty rule in this game. Even though there's only really 2, maybe 3 actions you could take, there's loads of little permutations associated with each action. So if you want a comprehensive rules overview, go and watch Games in a Nutshell or Heavy Cardboard or something like that, right? So Pax Pamir 2nd edition is like an area control tableau building game. At the beginning of the game you will pledge your allegiance to one of 3 factions. You've got the British, you've got the Russians, and you've got the Afghans, right? This game is set in 1820s Afghanistan during the middle of the Great Game. That was a tussle for control of Afghanistan between the Russians and the British, and I suppose in a roundabout sort of way they're still playing a great game today, right? So this game on the surface is relatively simple. You're just going to be taking one of 2 actions. You're going to be purchasing a card, or you will be playing your card into your court. There is a market with 2 rows, and one of your 2 actions could be to buy a card from the market. You'll see that there's a cost associated with the card, and when you pay rupees for the card, you'll place 1 rupee on each card to the left of the card you want to buy. This means that there is a closed economy. All the cash, more or less, will stay in circulation, right? So you'll be able to put this card directly into your hand. You'll see that there is a hand limit of 2 cards plus however many blue stars you got in your court, right? And if you ever have more cards in your hand or cards in your court than the limit allows, you'll have to discard down at the end of your turn, right? So the second action that you could do is you could play a card into your court. You'll take a card from your hand and you will put it into your court. One of the things you've got to remember is that you cannot manipulate the order of the cards in your court. They stay where they are. The reasons for this will become apparent later on if I could be asked to talk about it. When you play a card into your court, you will resolve the impact icons in the top right hand side of the card from top to bottom. You might be able to place a road on the border of the province that is on the card, right? You'll take one of the coalition blocks that you are loyal to and you'll place it laying down on the border. You might be able to place an army, and this acts in the same sort of way. You'll take a coalition block that you are loyal to and you'll place it standing up in the region associated with the card you played. You might be able to take the leverage icon, in which case you'll take 2 rupees from the bank, but if you ever lose this card you'll have to pay 2 rupees back to the bank, right? You might be able to place one of your cylinders from your player board in any other player's court that matches the card that you played, right? So if you played a Punjab card for this action, then you will be able to place a cylinder in any other player's Punjab card in their court. You might be able to place a tribe in that region, and you need tribes to take control of regions. You take control of a region by having a tribe in that region and then more pieces in the coalition that you're supporting than anybody else. And if you take control, you'll take the control marker. If anyone wants to activate a card from a region that you rule, they'll have to pay you a bribe, right? And then the final impact action is you'll move the favour marker down, and this means that you can now activate cards with that suit as bonus actions for free. They don't count towards your 2 actions. So once you've got cards in your court, you'll be able to use them for the actions on the bottom of them, right? You might want to take the build action, in which case you'll pay 2, 4 or 6 rupees and you'll be able to build roads and armies in a region that you rule. You might be able to take the tax action, in which case you'll either take rupees from the market cards, or you'll be able to tax players that have at least 1 card associated with the region from the card you played. You'll be able to pay gifts, right? You'll pay 2, 4, 6 rupees and you'll stick one of your cylinders on your loyalty wheel, and this will give you influence during the dominance phase, which we'll get to in a little bit. You can take the move action. This allows you to move an army through a friendly road to an adjacent territory. You can take the betray action. This allows you to destroy a card where you have a spy, and if the card that you destroy has a loyalty banner on the bottom of it that is the same as the coalition that you're supporting, you'll be able to take it as a gift and slot it under your loyalty wheel, and this will give you 1 influence during the dominance phase. And finally, you'll be able to battle. You'll be be able to destroy one troop, one road, one spy or one tribe anywhere on the board or on any card by using this action. If you ever lose all your tribes, you'll have to discard all your political cards, all your purple cards, and if you lose all your purple cards, you'll have to destroy all your tribes on a board, right? This is called the overthrow rule, so don't forget it, right? There's also events that you can buy. These will trigger certain things, like maybe if you buy the card, then gifts are worth double influence until the next dominant phase, or if you let it fall off the board at the end of your turn, then gifts will be worth nothing until the next dominance phase. If a dominance card comes out, this is where you'll be doing a little bit of intermediate or final scoring. You'll check to see if any coalition has 4 more blocks than any other coalition on the board, and if it does, then it is a successful dominance check. If it doesn't, then it's unsuccessful. If it's unsuccessful, then the player with the most cylinders on the board will get 3 points, and then the second most will get 1. But if it is a successful check, you'll add up all of your loyalty icons on patriot cards in your court. You'll get 1 for the loyalty icon on your loyalty wheel. You check to see how many prizes you got under your loyalty wheel, and you'll add any gifts that you have on your loyalty wheel, right? The player with the most influence will get 5 points, the second most will get 3, and the third will get 1. In the last dominance phase, these points are doubled, so if you've got the most influence, you'll get a whopping 10 points, right? And once the final dominance card comes out and you resolve it, then the player with the most points will be the winner. If there's a tie, it's the player with the most money, and if there's still a tie, it's the player who can make the best kebab. That's what it says in the rulebook. I ain't joking, right? So what do we like about Pax Pamir 2nd edition? So the first thing that we really like about this is the components, and the aesthetic quality of the game is second to none. The fact that it gives you a little cloth board really does amplify the theme somewhat, doesn't it? The art on the cards is absolutely superb, and it all fits back in the box really neatly, and it looks really nice, yeah? They really pushed the boat out with the quality of this game, and I suppose it shows in the price that we paid for this. But yeah, we really like the look of this one. So the second thing that we really like about this is the card play gives you a wealth of options. The fact that you can use the favoured cards for free and they don't count towards your action limit means you could probably activate maybe 4, maybe 5 cards in a turn if you play your cards right, yeah? Not only do you get options when you play the card into your court with the impact icons, but then you also get loads and loads of options by using the cards actions. And you can even influence other players' cards by dumping spies on their cards and maybe using the betray action, right? So the amount of different permutations and the amount of different combinations that you've got in this game is mind-boggling. You're not even going to be using all the cards. You're going to be leaving half the cards back in the box, right? So there's so much replayability in this game. It really is kind of mind-boggling, you know? So the third thing we like about this game is the amount of work that the designer's done in collating the historical background to each card is unbelievable. I mean, he must have sat in a library for 100 years, writing all the flavour text and making sure that all of the cards have a synergy with each other. It really is testament to some board game designers' devotion to this hobby, right? So what don't we like about Pax Pamir 2nd edition? So the first thing that we don't like about this game is that there's too many fiddly rules floating about in your brain, and a lot of them are similar. An example of this is that you need to try and remember which actions, if you rule a region, if you play a card from that region, check a dominance, making sure that you remember that the military favour doubles the cost of the market. You've got to remember that the event cards fall off the board. It's so easy to forget that, and you've got to remember you've got to pay that cash back when you're playing the leverage cards, right? And it's very difficult to hold this information in your mind while you're trying to figure out a strategy, yeah? I've really struggled to remember the way that different actions slot in with each other. Every time we played this, we've had a lot of take-backs. People realised that they did something and then they realised that they could do this, that they didn't have that influence, that the event card didn't fall off the board. And maybe you lot at the back find this sort of thing really easy, but we really struggled with it, and it became just a slugfest of trying to remember inconsequential and sometimes game-breaking rules. So the second thing that we don't like about this, and we said the aesthetics are really good apart from one thing, and that is the colours are a little bit too similar. Okay, you've got black and grey, which might be difficult for some people to see when they're on the board, but the fact that they used a mustard colour for one of the tribes and a yellow colour for the Russians is one of the most bonkers design decisions that we have seen in a very long time, because a lot of people are going to be associating that yellow tribe with the Russians, aren't they? They're just going to be be thinking that. And I know this game attracts a lot of hardcore, heavy Euro-style game nerds, and if you don't like that, then you could just piss off, because there are 1,000,000,001 other colours that could have been used. Having a yellow colour for the tribes and a yellow colour for all the Russians just seems a little bit stupid. So the third thing we don't like about Pax Pamir 2nd edition is probably the thing that we dislike the most. Is the scoring is one of the most ridiculous systems that we have probably ever seen in any board game that we've played. You slug your guts out trying to get those influence points and trying to get your cylinders out of the board that will allow you to score points. And at the end of the game, because the points are doubled, the person who is in last place just sneaks ahead and pips you at the post just because the scores were doubled. And I know why they did this. It's because when you're playing this game and you don't score any points in the first couple of dominance phases, then you could just be out of the game. There's no real catch-up mechanism to help you along. So I suppose rather than have people basically eliminated from the game, they had to think of some way to allow them to stay in the game. And it seems to us that they just lazily decided to double the points at the end of the game. So it renders the other dominance checks meaningless. It means you could do absolutely fuck all in the first few dominance checks and then storm ahead just because the scores are doubled. And that fucking sucks. So the final thing that we don't like, well, it's not the final thing, but I can't be asked to moan about this game anymore, but the final thing that we don't like about this is that the take that in this game can destroy your whole game through no fault of your own. If you put a spy on someone's card aiming to get that card as a prize, someone could just overflow their court and destroy that card with your spy on it due to the hand limit, right? So really, there's no point in putting spies on people's courts if they overflow their court, yeah? Similarly, the betray action means that if somebody sticks a spy on your court, they could theoretically destroy the cards that you've just played, and there's nothing you can do about it. If somebody is next in the turn order, you've played a card into your court, you've done the impact action, and then they go ahead and destroy it straight away. So it was like sort of a tug of war. It's like, you do something, I'm going to do something that undoes it. I'm going to do something, you're going to do something that undoes it. And it was absolutely frustrating. It just made me want to sort of punch a hole in my downstairs bog plasterboard. So is Pax Pamir 2nd edition worth your time and bother today and in the future? So we're going to say, no, I fucking hate this game. It looks and feels absolutely fantastic. Yeah, the component quality and the artwork on the cards, the historical background, the amount of work the designer's done to provide a cohesive narrative in this game is absolutely astonishing, right? Hats off to the geezer who constructed this game. But the game itself is so frustrating, you may as well spend your time punching yourself in the face for 2 hours. This is more a futile tug of war than a strategic ball game, and I suppose that's what the great game was. It was just a tug of war. I don't want to spend 2 to 3 hours doing something and then seeing it get destroyed by somebody else 2 minutes after I've done it. The double scoring aspect of the game in the final dominance check is absolutely insane. Like we said previously, this allows you just to romp home to victory without doing anything in the previous checks, right? And that was a nail in the coffin for me, yeah, just seeing somebody romp ahead after sitting on their ass for 10 turns, yeah. And as such, I will never, ever, ever play Pax Pamir 2nd edition again. So there you go, that's Pax Pamir 2nd edition. Remember, if you are new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Hit the like button and all that evangelistic YouTube bullshit. I'll see you next time.